This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I am Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you after a week off. Nice to see you again.
Yes, I missed you. Hope you had a good vacation.
Did you miss me?
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah. I wasn't going to tell you, but I missed you a little bit too. Not in the I'm sad I might not ever see you again sort of thing, but just it was a nice to see you after a week break.
Well, isn't that a sweet thing to say?
I think I'm giving you a compliment.
I think you are.
I'm trying to.
It's grudging, but you're getting it done. And it's good to have you back, and good to be here talking to the people about what's going on in the news. Right.
So last week on July 4th,
yes,
President Donald Trump threw himself a fireworks party, big old party in Washington, D.C. We learned a thing or two new about history, apparently.
About the airports.
The Revolutionary War was won at the Battle of LaGuardia or something like that.
One if by air, two if by sea, I'll text if... No, one if by land, two if by sea, I'll text if it's by air. That was somebody's meme on Twitter.
There were quite a few of those.
It was good. It was a good week for social media jokes. It was, yeah.
So this was something that Trump wanted for the fanfare and the regalia of it all. Do you think that it changed anything, politically for anyone? The people that were against him having the big celebration are still against him, and the people that were for him having it had one, but was there any bump out of it for him? Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. And sadly, as long as the status quo holds, it's not going to be good. For the Trump resistance, the liberals, and the Democrats, they spend so much time aghast that this guy is throwing himself a megalomaniacal exercise, that this guy who didn't serve appropriates tanks from the military to flank his bone spurs, as somebody put it on social media. When, all you're doing when you go crazy about that is telling his base and a key undetermined amount of the center in this country that that you're obsessed with him, and or you don't want to celebrate America's birthday. He's going to do what he's going to do. The resistance to Trump, the liberals, the Democrats, had best be about coming up with some alternative to him better than what they've got, and obsessing less and less on this exercise. He had it. It was offensive to many people, myself included, but so what? Every day of his presidency has been offensive to many people. And he gave an okay talk, and his supporters and some others thought it was a perfectly appropriate occasion. We've had presidents before give speeches celebrating the nation's birthday on July 4th. Now his was a little grander because he is who he is. But it's just nothing changes because he's behaving the same way, and his critics are reacting in the same knee-jerk way. And the political equation is not ever going to be changed as long as people behave that fully predictably.
It's getting a little old.
It is old. It's just...
But there's an obligatory, you have to talk about it.
I guess. I have to talk about it because you asked.
I couldn't say one of the things that dominated the news.
It did. And, what else can you say other than same old, same old? But what frustrates me, and the perspective I'm trying to give, is we start in a few months with the Democrats having primaries. This is what, July, and Iowa goes in January, right?
That's right.
We're getting close to going into the active process to have an election, and the Democrats are out here obsessing on him when they need somebody who can debate better than Joe Biden, or hold consistent opinions more than Kamala Harris, or imitate Bernie Sanders a little less than Elizabeth Warren, and they don't have it. So it's just the same old, same old.
All right. Let's shift to the World Cup. The U.S. women won the world title. They have been on a mission to battle for equal pay. I support that, as a matter of fact.
Well,
so
of course
I'll go on
do.
the record with that.
And here in your company.
Did their victory on the world stage, do you think it changed anything?
Yes. I think...
Was it a cultural moment for America?
I don't think it was singularly seminal. It is a pronounced forward step in the evolution. It really. it didn't, just because they won this time, they won before, it's not singularly an epic moment, but an epic moment is evolving. And I had an experience yesterday that I think is, my neighbor comes over 2 days ago, over the weekend, while we're cutting grass on Saturday morning, Great American Exercise. You watching the big game tomorrow. Being 65 and who I am, it took me a minute to what are we talking about here?
You were thinking the '69
Yeah,
shootout was going to be on TV again.
In my cultural experience, big game mean the Hogs are playing Texas or Alabama or something. But then it took me just a half second. They've got a daughter who's a very good soccer player and a high school soccer player. It was soccer. And then the next day I realized that there is commentary to be done here in Little Rock, not to overemphasize Little Rock for your statewide audience. However, this is sort of answer to what you're talking about. In War Memorial Stadium, down on that synthetic surface at 90-degree heat at noon, the city was throwing a watch party on the big scoreboard screen. And I went by there and I talked to the mayor who was there. And you had maybe a couple hundred folks with the umbrellas and the sunscreen, and you had kids running around kicking soccer balls, and they were watching soccer. And this was Mayor Scott telling me, this is the new diverse more community diverse use of this park. And this is an example of what we're talking about. Outside, abutting the stadium, was the 83rd and last War Memorial 4th of July golf tournament,
right,
largely participated in by older white men. And it was their last tournament. And I've got a sort of an attempt at poetic, poignant commentary about that tomorrow. But I think that represents, in a way, what we're seeing. And more specifically, those golf holes where those old guys were hitting their iron shots Sunday, I think this time next year, some of them will be girls' soccer fields. I think what happened yesterday is part of just a more diverse, changing recreational sports cultural environment. And I think it was all represented by that, or at least I sensed that and tried to capture it.
So it was more of a cultural moment for Arkansas, or Little Rock
That,
even
that
more
was,
specifically.
but I'm not saying it's just Arkansas. I'm saying, in answer to your question, I think it's a broad evolution in our culture. But I think we had a pronounced look at it here just yesterday in our local park.
There's news this morning that State Senator Will Bond will not seek re-election. I have actually spoken to former State Representative Clark Tucker, who may be interested in running for that position. Let's talk about that seat specifically in central Little Rock. Why is that seat? Because the Democrats, it's a Democratic seat. Democrats do not have the majority in the state Senate. Why is that seat an important one for the state Senate, do you think?
Well, I don't know that it is. I mean, it is a district that the Democrats can and should and probably will hold. It's one of 8 or 9 in a minority caucus. Will Bond was very valuable as because he's a lawyer of moderate to progressive views who could sometimes, sometimes you can, under the radar, have some influence on things that get done. And Clark Tucker would be, I think, a more visible, more celebrity form of the same kind of service. But other than that, I mean, it's just, the legislature is now Republican, and Democrats are just lucky to have a few. This is sort of a higher profile one that can join with Joyce Elliott and Stephanie Flowers and maybe Ken Ingram and occasionally do something of a more moderate progressive bent. Or Keith Ingram, I meant. Kent was his brother. Yeah. Keith. Right. Thank you.
All right. Anything else that we need to be aware of that you have in the works with this magic potion of poetry and prose that you put together a few times a week?
No, tomorrow's column is about this thing that I mentioned. Wednesdays will be, I think, another installment in my great frustration with the Democratic presidential field. Joe Biden, his whole point of his campaign was you may not be crazy about him, but he's the one who can beat Trump. He's the one who can debate Trump. He couldn't debate Kamala Harris. He couldn't debate him. He was, I thought, doddering in that first debate. And he staked out, I'll be brief, he stakes out a position trying to say, I can work with the other side. And typically, because he's so verbose, he goes too far and seems to be saying nice things about Southern segregationists. He gets attacked on that. Rather than in debate being able to defend that, saying, look, this is how we work in politics. I don't have to like them. I don't have to like their view on that, but I need every vote I can get on this, and I'll try to get every vote. That would be, he just sort of stuttered through it, and ever since then has been trying to apologize. In fact, over the weekend, apologized for ever saying he ever worked with people he disagreed with. I just think he's being exposed as totally ill-equipped for the job the Democrats have, and I think they're in a world of hurt for a challenger.
Sounds like an Arrows column coming on Democratic presidential candidates.
Well, it could be just the Democratic presidential field and then an arrow for the full, and it would save me a lot of words. All right.
I'm not sure people want to
Why
read
is Will
just
Bond
that, so-
quitting? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go find out. And next week I can talk more thoroughly about why he's doing it. Okay. Thanks.
All right. He is John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always good to see
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for watching. That's all for today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.